There is a difference between driving a car in a video game and actually racing. If a game doesn't make you respect the speed or punish you for blinking at the wrong time, it doesn't belong on your hard drive. The 15 games on this list, they don't just look good, they pull you in and refuse to let go. These are the titles that blur the line between a game and an obsession. Let's get into it. Forza Horizon 5. If you want a racing game that feels like a permanent vacation, this is it. The map of Mexico is gorgeous and huge, featuring everything from swamps to a massive Gran Caldera volcano that is the highest point in the franchise. The graphics are next level, especially the lighting and smoke effects that make the cars look photorealistic. You can cruise around solo or jump into the Horizon arcade for some chaotic minigames with randoms. With a daily peak of around 28,000 players on Steam alone, you will never struggle to find people to race against. When you are ready to race, the game offers endless options. The handling is tighter than ever, with improved suspension physics that make off-roading feel crunchy and satisfying. You have a toy box of over 900 cars to play with, and the new engine sounds are a huge upgrade from the previous game. The new event lab lets the community go wild, creating custom modes, ensuring you never run out of things to do. Even if you are not a gearhead, the loop of exploring and unlocking new rides is super satisfying. It is basically a car-collecting RPG that looks stunning. Need for Speed Unbound. This game is hands down the most stylish racer on the market right now. It blends realistic car models with anime-inspired smoke and wings, looking like a comic book come to life. The driving feels super satisfying, inheriting the grip versus drift tuning from Heat, but refining it so you aren't getting busted by cops for no reason. The risk-reward system of banking cash during the day to afford buy-ins for high-stakes night races adds genuine tension. While the map of Lakeshore is a bit vanilla compared to Palm City, the visual flair does a lot of heavy lifting to keep things fresh. It currently pulls in around 1,700 daily active players on Steam, so the community is small but dedicated. The biggest downside is the story, which tries way too hard to be cool with cringy influencer dialogue that misses the mark. It feels like a boomer wrote what they think Gen Z sounds like. The multiplayer is also weirdly separated from the campaign, meaning your tricked-out rides don't transfer over, which is a huge buzzkill. Despite that, the core driving and customization are strong enough to carry the experience. It has a mixed rating on Steam, mostly due to these weird design choices, but the driving itself is a vibe. Gran Turismo 7. If you grew up with the original GT games, this one will hit you right in the nostalgia. It brings back the classic car collecting loop where you start with a junker and slowly upgrade it into a track monster. The new Gran Turismo Cafe acts as a hub, guiding you through menu books that teach you about car culture while unlocking rides. It is a welcoming entry point for new players, but might feel like busy work for vets. The microtransactions are a massive L, with credit prices being insanely high compared to GT Sport, making some cars feel like a pay-to-win trap. Despite the monetization issues, the gameplay loop is addictive. You will find yourself obsessing over license tests just to shave off milliseconds for gold. The customization is deep, with a wing editor and livery options that let you make your ride unique. The DualSense features are a game changer, giving you feedback that actually helps you drive better. It is a flawed masterpiece that frustrates you with its economy, but hooks you with its driving. If you can ignore the cash grab, it is a must-play for racing fans. Le Mans Ultimate. Motorsport games somehow pulled off the biggest clutch in sim racing history with this one. Everyone thought they were cooked after their past disasters, but they actually delivered a finished 1.0 version that is legit. This is the only official WEC game out there, letting you whip hypercars in a licensed setting. The graphics are absolutely cracked, with lighting and weather that look realistic without being too cartoony, though the optimization is still sus. It hiccups even on a beastly future-proof rig, which is wild for a finished game. Despite the technical jank, the visuals and the fact that it exists at all is a massive W for the studio. The driving model is where this title truly shines, offering a tire simulation that feels forgiving yet authentic. You can push the cars aggressively without instantly losing control, which is a major improvement over other stiff simulators. The force feedback is arguably the best in the class, letting you feel every curb and weight transfer. Unfortunately, the content model is frustrating, as the base game locks you to the 2023 season and asks you to pay extra for the newer cars and tracks. It is a simulator designed strictly for online enthusiasts who care about lap times and ranked lobbies rather than a deep single-player campaign. Forza Motorsport 7. This entry proves why the franchise is a kingpin of the genre, offering a staggering amount of content to explore. The garage is huge, and while it misses some big names like Lexus, it compensates with weird and wonderful cult classics. The visual fidelity is drop-dead gorgeous, especially on PC, where it pushes high resolutions without dropping a single frame. It also features improved audio design that captures the howl of engines and the crackle of exhausts perfectly, begging you to turn the volume up. The driving experience strikes a great balance between fun and realism, requiring skill to lap cleanly without being overly punishing. The new cockpit view is a solid addition for wheel users, offering a better perspective of the track. However, the progression system has changed significantly. You now have to collect cars to raise your collector tier to unlock better vehicles, which can feel a bit restrictive. The economy is also controversial, as credit payouts for turning off assists are gone, replaced by a loot box system called prize crates that feels like a waste of in-game money. Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you are looking for a dedicated GT3 simulator, this game offers a laser-focused experience that sheds the surplus content of its predecessor. The detailed car models and official tracks are stunning, supported by an audio engine that screams authenticity with bespoke track announcers and wicked engine notes. It is a serious challenge that rewards consistency over raw speed, backed by a granular driver rating system that tracks every move you make to ensure clean competition. Unfortunately, the console version feels like it needed more time in the pit lane before release. The gameplay aims for simulation perfection, but is held back by technical gremlins. The AI is a big step up, capable of battling fairly and respecting your line, which makes for great offline racing. But the control setup is a headache. Steering wheel support is buggy, often failing to detect inputs or arbitrarily changing rotation angles. Controller players get a decent experience with assists, though the on-screen steering animation looks erratic and distracting. With a 30 frames per second cap that feels uneven and menus that lag, it is a brilliant simulator trapped in a subpar port. MotoGP 24. This series has been running on Unreal Engine 4 since 2018, and you can start to feel the age despite the sense of speed. The sound design is a definite highlight, with aggressive engine notes that actually help convey the intensity of the races. One of the most interesting new mechanics is the ride height device, which isn't just a simple speed boost. Using it forces you to square off corners because it effectively locks your turning ability until you hit the brakes. It adds a nice layer of strategy to the racing that requires you to plan your corner exits carefully. Driving these bikes requires relearning your muscle memory because the game physically prevents you from leaning if you are braking too hard. It feels unnatural at first, almost like an invisible hand is fighting you, though you can mitigate it with stiff bike setups. The AI remains a sore spot, with the hard difficulty setting creating impossibly fast opponents that leave you in the dust. Meanwhile, the mid-corner physics feel a bit flat, lacking the sensation of weight transfer when you get back on the throttle, making it feel less rewarding than older titles like Ride 4. EA Sports WRC. If you love long rally stages, this game delivers in a big way. The switch to a new engine means you get routes that are twice as long as previous dirt games, giving you a real sense of an endurance test. The handling on dirt and gravel is top tier, informed by the excellent physics of Dirt Rally 2.0, and the force feedback feels right on the money. You can even build your own rally car from scratch, though the generic parts might not excite everyone. Unfortunately, the game runs rough. You will likely encounter micro freezes and screen tearing during races, which is super frustrating when you are trying to nail a perfect run. The environments lack detail compared to Forza Horizon 5, with flat-looking snow and shrubs that clip through your car door. The asphalt physics feel overly sensitive on a gamepad, requiring a lot of tweaking to get right. Despite the killer car list and great sound, the lack of polish makes it feel less like a generational leap and more like a work in progress. The Crew Motorfest. This game ditches the massive cross-country map for a focused recreation of Hawaii, and the result is a stunning but smaller open world. The structure revolves around themed playlists, which are curated mini-campaigns featuring brands like Liberty Walk and Donut Media. The Donut playlist is a standout, bringing their energetic style to the game with fun showdowns. However, the world itself feels a little dead outside of these events, with AI racers ghosting through you and very few civilian cars on the road. It tries hard to emulate the competition, and while it lacks originality, the presentation is undeniably slick, and the lighting engine is impressive. On the road, the vehicles handle significantly better than they did in the Crew 2, with improved physics that make drifting feel great. The roster is technically huge, but a lot of that count comes from slight variations of the same Mitsubishi or Porsche models. Buying cars can be a headache due to the slow earn rate of currency, and the game is not shy about showing you the microtransaction store whenever possible. If you can ignore the grind and the weak plane mechanics, the street racing offers plenty of fun moments. It is a robust arcade racer that just needs a bit more polish on its in-game economy. F1 25. It feels like the developers finally listened to feedback, delivering a package that feels significantly fresher than the last few entries. The headline feature is the overhaul of My Team, which transforms you into a genuine team principal managing a $16 million operation, rather than just driving a car you own. This adds a layer of strategy regarding R&D and driver favoritism that was missing before. The Breaking Point story returns for a third act, offering harmless fun with specific race scenarios, even if some of the driver predictions for the 2025 season aged poorly during development. Gameplay remains top tier, with handling that punishes you for aggressive throttle application on worn tires. The AI is arguably the best it has ever been, fighting hard for position while respecting your space on the track. While the addition of reverse layouts for tracks like Red Bull Ring might leave you indifferent, the visual upgrades are undeniable. The F1 World Mode returns for those who care about cosmetic unlocks, but the real value here is in the deep single-player management and the tight competitive racing. Trackmania. This remake of the 2006 classic serves as a return to form for the series, delivering the same addictive time trial action that fans have loved for nearly 2 decades. It defies the usual racing game trends by focusing almost entirely on you competing against your own skills rather than direct wheel-to-wheel racing. The core loop is simple yet deep, driving you to shave milliseconds off your time on over 45 official tracks at launch. However, the vibe is dampened by a confusing subscription model that locks the best community features behind a paywall, making the free version feel like a glorified demo rather than a full experience. The driving requires a specific touch, as the cars have a tendency to float around corners, making every turn feel like a gamble. You will need to learn subtle tricks like air control to survive, which is tough since the game explains very little beyond the basics. The custom track scene is where the game shines, with users creating everything from vertical drops to intricate technical courses. However, unless you pay the annual $10 or $30 fee, you are mostly locked out of downloading these creations or joining club servers. It is a brilliant time waster held back by a confusing paywall. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. If you loved the first game, this sequel takes everything that worked and adds a few new tricks under the hood. The attention to detail is staggering, from the texture differences between plastic and metal to the way cars accumulate scratches during a race. The world design is fantastic, shrinking you down to race through locations like a gas station or a dinosaur museum. It is a shame that the story mode ends with a whimper, unlocking more challenges instead of handing out rare cars, and the difficulty curve can be surprisingly steep for a game aimed at kids. The stingy reward system is a minor letdown in an otherwise polished package. The driving mechanics have been expanded significantly, adding new moves like a double jump and a lateral dash that open up fresh strategies for navigating tracks. You now have 6 distinct vehicle classes, ranging from heavy-duty monsters to swift drifters, though the game frustratingly forces you to use specific types for certain story events. The upgrade system allows for some flexibility, letting you tweak boost types to suit your driving style. While the track builder remains a powerful tool for creativity, it is disappointing that the environments from the first game did not make the cut. It is a robust arcade racer that builds on a strong foundation with smart additions. Project Cars 2. If you were scared off by the difficulty of the original game, it is time to come back, because this sequel is a massive improvement. It offers a staggering amount of content straight out of the gate, including 60 venues with over 130 layouts, which is triple what GT Sport offered at launch. The roster covers everything from retro touring cars to modern hypercars, and the manufacturer drives events give you a nice break from the main career grind. It looks gorgeous on both console and PC, though you might see a frame drop here and there on consoles. The gameplay strikes a perfect balance between simulation depth and accessibility. Gamepad players finally get one-to-one control that feels planted, meaning you don't need a fancy wheel setup to be competitive. The weather tech is impressive, allowing seasons to change the grip levels on tracks like Bathurst, even if the trees don't always look botanically accurate. Online championships are fully supported with broadcast tools for esports, but the offline custom races are just as fun for messing around with weather settings. It is simply one of the best racing packages available. Burnout Paradise Remastered. This title reinvented the arcade racer by removing the barriers and letting you loose in a sprawling urban jungle. You start with a junker and have to earn your upgrades, but the entire map is open from the get-go. Navigation can be tricky since you have to memorize routes instead of following arrows, but learning the shortcuts is part of the fun. The old crash mode is gone, replaced by showtime events that let you bounce your car down streets for massive scores at any time. Gameplay is all about momentum and aggression, encouraging you to take risks for boost. The roster includes over 70 cars divided into specific types, meaning speed cars handle differently than heavy aggression vehicles. Stunt runs are a highlight, chaining jumps and drifts to keep your combo alive as you tear through the city. The game runs flawlessly at 60 frames per second, making every near miss and takedown feel incredibly visceral. It is a masterpiece of speed that respects your time by keeping you in the action. Wreckfest 2. If you loved the metal-mashing chaos of the first game, this sequel doubles down on the destruction with impressive new tech. The environments are dense with salvage that reacts realistically to impacts, making every lap feel chaotic and dangerous. The visuals are stunning on high-end hardware, running smoothly even with dozens of cars on screen. But be warned, this is a very early build. You only have access to Destruction Derby and traditional racing modes, and there is no car tuning or customization available yet. On the track, the racing is intense and satisfying. The audio design captures the groan of dying engines perfectly, adding to the immersion. The AI opponents are belligerent and fast, forcing you to fight for every position. Unfortunately, the experience is marred by technical issues like game crashes and audio bugs. It is a beautiful, violent racer that needs more meat on its bones before it can truly compete with its predecessor. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when I upload new content. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And check out these other videos you might like. See you in the next one.